This short video illustrates the effect of distributing lecture slides to students using the Picasa program to create a web page and embedding that web page in Blackboard. You can actually take the web page and embed it in any type of another HTML page. I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like in Blackboard. So I'm going to be logging in, and I'll show you what it looks like in a typical Blackboard course. I'm going to be taking as an example a course I taught in the winter of 2009. This course is called Historical Foundations of Visual Technologies, and we'll tune in to the 10th week here. Now, the slides that I've packaged up for chapters 23, 24, and 25 are each in separate files, and when I click on the slides for a chapter, I get a screen that looks like this. I get my slides, and I get thumbnails that let the student viewing this navigate through these slides. This is actually viewed best if I go and look for a full screen view. In this case, what happens is I get the entire slide very nicely sized for presentation on the screen without any scrolling at all. We get navigation buttons. This goes to the next slide. These are called pictures because Picasa is actually a photo album. And as a photo album, it talks about pictures. It's free software that takes my slides and does all of this kind of stuff with it. So I can very easily step through the slides. If I was a student viewing this, I might also be playing at the same time an MP3 sound file that you would create separate from the slides. And the fact that the student navigates through the slides gives them the capability to leap ahead or to go back and review something that a subsequent part of the lecture might touch on, and they'd like to perhaps go back and refresh that in their own mind. I find it's a tremendous advantage to have the sound file separate from the slides for this reason. Normally, the way to go through would simply be progressing from one picture here to the next. By the way, the type of slides that you're seeing here I find particularly effective. Slides are a visual medium, and they're a natural in a course like this art history course because we're talking about a visual image. It's kind of unfortunate that many people wind up using PowerPoint simply to present text, which can be rather boring, especially if it's just read. So the example I chose for this is purposely illustrated with graphics. Students progress through these lecture slides at their own pace. Your narration for these could be actually recorded in class when you're using these slides and giving a lecture, or it could be recorded separately, and it could be edited using Audacity or some other sound editing program. It could be quite a refined presentation when prepared in that way. So here we have separate navigation possible for all these slides. And wherever we position ourselves within the thumbnails, these buttons then allow us to move step by step. Now, I particularly like this method for distributing slides to students for a number of reasons. First of all, you're not giving your slides away. You output your slides as JPEGs, and they exist one slide at a time in JPEG form, not as PowerPoint at all. Another very important thing to think about is what software will your viewers have to have in order to play back this slide set. In this case, they don't need any software at all. The only software they need is a browser. This is all being presented as simply one JPEG after another. And the code to actually do all of this is automatically written for you by Picasa, which is a free product. So another advantage I see in this is the active engagement of the student in manipulating the slides while the audio progresses. As long as you indicate by way of a comment in your lecture as to what slide you're talking about, the student can always tie the lecture together with the slides. So the student has complete flexibility in what part of this they would like to focus on. And the last technical benefit from this is that to do this requires nothing in the way of technical skills. Everything that I'm showing you here was generated entirely by Picasa, and Picasa, although it produced for me several files, all I had to do was to highlight them and zip them all up, that is, compress them all into this one file, which I then installed in Blackboard simply as one file. And Blackboard does all the work of picking these apart and more or less installing them as if they were installed on a website at the time somebody clicks on one of these. And you see here how fast this actually opens up. So this is a marvelous way of presenting slides to students, containing them all within the scope of your Blackboard course, and not giving away your slides and not requiring students to have PowerPoint and your specific version of PowerPoint in order to see them. In addition, since access to this course is inherently limited to the students enrolled in the course, you don't have to worry about setting up any other distribution list as you might if you posted your slides publicly on one of the publicly available websites for posting slides. You don't have to worry about managing who's going to gain access to this. That's automatically taken care of by way of the access limitations to Blackboard. Just your enrolled students are going to see this. So in the next little video, I will show you how to do this step by step, starting with the downloading of the Picasa program and importing your slides into it, slides that have been output by PowerPoint as JPEGs.